I wanted to get your thoughts, the three of you, regarding what I've been running into repeatedly with people with whom I'm close and not so close since the assassination of Charlie Kirk, which is I've been watching reels and shorts and videos of Charlie, and I have not seen what some of my friends and relatives have said about him, calling him a racist, calling him a misogynist, saying he's full of hate. And I've posted some things because I feel as though, as some of you have said, this has energized people, and it's energized me to a degree to say I should be more forthcoming about some of my thoughts and not be silent about what I believe. So I've posted things saying to people, if there is real evidence, not a little snippet where something's taken out of context, but the full breadth of something that Charlie has said that fits that would paint him that way, I'd like to see it. And I haven't had anybody respond with that, but it's as though people aren't willing to look at something that would maybe enlighten them because they've already made up their mind and they don't want any additional information. And I don't know how to break through that bubble. Or as I say, or say to me, okay, if the data is there that says Charlie was this horrible person, let me see it because I haven't
Yeah.
been able to
Yeah.
find it.
Okay. So
What are your
let me go real quick, and then Sean, and then Dan. First of all, if there were lots of things that Charlie said that were on their face objectionable, you'd see the list every day in the Washington Post and the New York Times. There's not. There's some things he said that I think, even in context, are not the greatest things he's ever said. I'll give you one example. He shortly after October 7th, he raised the question of whether the Israeli government allowed it to happen for political purposes. Okay, he never said it again, and he's a very good friend of Israel. That's one. There's a few. A lot of the things that people say he's misogynist, he's hateful, he's anti-gay, were things he said informed by his faith and the teachings of his Bible. They're certainly objectionable to a lot of Americans, but they're not objectionable to tens of millions of others. And then finally, there's a bunch of stuff that's either made up or taken out of context. So he wasn't a perfect person. He appeared live on programs. I can tell you from personal experience, everyone here can. You appear live on programs, sometimes you'll say stuff you wish you hadn't said. But did he have a pattern of saying things that are on their face objectionable to everyone, not to the far left, but objectionable to everyone? He did not. And lastly, I'll say he had a great heart. He had a great heart. So this was a guy who loved people and was an extraordinary person and was very nice to everybody, not just to people who agreed with him politically. So I tend to think of someone like that. Show me 20 things they said objectionable. I'm happy to look through them. But he's not defined by those things that he said. And again, there's no list. There's no such list of things. Now, again, the Nation magazine could produce a list because they don't like his view on abortion or women's rights or gay rights. He said some things about traditional marriage that even some people on the right object to, but they're not bigoted. They're informed by his faith. Sean.
I'd largely agree. I mean, I think that when you talk about what the Bible says and what your faith is, you don't have to agree with it, or anyone does, but that doesn't make you that makes, in my opinion, makes you a great person. Um, but I think to your point, Paul, and this is the fundamental. There's two things. One, so much of when I have these discussions with people, it's the same thing. I'll say, so tell me what the problem is. And they'll be like, well, I heard. So we've now become a country on the right and the left where people have an impression of somebody or something or a policy because somebody told them something or they read something on X or Reddit or Twitter or whatever. And that's it. I mean, when you challenge them, so I think you're doing the right thing, not just on this issue with respect to Charlie, because I think you're right, but on a whole host of things. When we have an issue, people tell me all the time, this legislation sucks. Or I'm like, okay, well, what part of it don't you like? Well, I heard that it, kills dogs and kitties. And you're like, but that's not true. It's not in there. We have become so reflexive to say we like something or don't like something based on, what social media deems appropriate or not. And I will say this with respect to Charlie. Again, same thing. I love all of these people that are making comments about positions that he's had, and when challenged on them, they can't find it. In fact, I will say he had it very clear on his position on trans. But on gays, he was actually very open. There's a great clip of him where some young student gets up and starts bashing it, and he says, "You cannot be a Trump supporter if you're anti-gay." So, again, I just think there's so many things that we've become very reflexive on, and And you're doing the right thing though, by asking people, show me the clip, tell me what exactly he said, because in many cases it's just not there. So
Dan.
thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah,
well, look, I'll disagree a little bit, which is, and Paul, this is the thing about social media. It depends what circles you go in. Mark said it. Some of his statements on marriage, some of his statements on women, to some people were highly offensive. Now, I agree, the idea of calling him a racist or a bigot, these titles that people use. But there are people, and we heard, Mark, I don't know if you were able to watch yesterday, the last caller, who found his views highly objectionable, and it really upset them. And I think that, unfortunately, just as some people on the right hear that and it go nuts and say, no, it's not, what people on the left aren't kind of seeing is the other side, which is he was, by all accounts, I didn't know him, but my two colleagues did, a good person, right? And what he was trying to do was get people to talk to each other, right? Now, when he engaged, he was in he got the modern media environment, right? He got that you say use humor and be on a front foot, right? It's why he was effective and people loved it, and he was able to break through. But to tens of millions of people, some of the stuff he said, they found highly objectionable. And this is kind of our divided country.
Actually, Dan, you're making a great point, which is this. There is a difference between disagreeing with somebody's positions and you saying, I don't like his position on marriage. I don't like his position on trans. I don't like his position on the federal budget. But that's, to Paul's point, the difference, and this is the distinction here. Not agreeing with somebody is healthy. That's what makes America so great, is that you can take a different position. But to jump to the conclusion that because you don't believe in, affirmative action, you're a racist, or you don't believe in reparations, you're a racist. And that's the difference, is that the moniker doesn't hold.
Yeah. Paul, you raised so many important issues. I'm going to make two more points. We're spending a lot of time on your question, but it opened up all the right things. I can't tell you the number of people, including in this community, serious, smart consumers of news, who emailed me over the weekend to say either it's clear Charlie wasn't MAGA enough for him, or it's clear he was part of a trans conspiracy to kill Charlie, right? The alleged killer. Neither of those things is proven to be true as far as we know. But smart, serious people emailing me saying, I know decisively what happened because I've read it on the internet. I've seen it on social. I've seen it on cable news. It's really depressing to me. I know that's not a super original point, but this is a case study. These are not nuts on the internet or social media. These are you all, lots of you all, people who are serious professional people telling me, Mark, why are you not saying this is a trans murder ring? Mark, why are you not saying that he killed him because he's a man of the right? His parents were Republicans. Relax, wait for information, and don't try to make points based on no information that is going to prove some political agenda that you have. Second, I spend a lot of time on all my platforms trying to explain to the left why the right's so upset, not just about Charlie, but about decades of things. I do more of that than explaining the other way, in part because the establishment media does plenty to try to explain the other direction. Okay. For people on the right, they hear Charlie being called a bigot, Charlie being called someone hateful, someone deserves to die. I'll give you just two examples that I hear all the time. People on the right say, you're adults and you're allowing kids to have sex surgery. Okay, you're adults and you allowed people to be debanked and have their lives ruined because of their political views. Those two things, I'm just giving two examples that came to my head because of other reasons. Those two things, people on the right say, that's real world stuff. That's objectionable real world stuff. That's irresponsible, hateful, evil. Charlie talked. Charlie didn't go out and ruin anyone's life. Charlie didn't debank anyone. Charlie didn't allow a child to say, I'm going to change my gender and have surgery. Okay? So that's why people on the right find it particularly objectionable, besides the fact that he had a good heart, to say, you all are going to denounce this guy and look at what you've done and you pretend there's nothing wrong. Paul, thank you. Really great question. Want more great clips like that? I've got an idea. Hit the subscribe button, be part of the two-way community, never miss a clip. And you can always watch our full episodes, join them live, go to twoway.tv.